Okay, so welcome to this lesson on permutations and combinations. This is the second part, so if you haven't watched the first part, you should stop watching this now and watch the first part. Okay, so today on this part, we're going to talk about actually how to compute permutations and combinations. And for the sake of simplicity, we're going to focus on how to do it in the calculator. So on number 81, it says to simplify 8p5. You're like, what in the heck is 8p5? Well, P stands for permutation, and if you remember from the last lesson, permutation, the way that we remember what that means is from a permutation lock. So if you had a lock, and if you had 8 choices for each of the first input into it, you know, the locks that you switch around. So let's say that the first one on the far left side has 8 possibilities. So that's what that 8 stands for, is the 8 possibilities. And then the 5 stands for the 5 total options that we have. So we have 8 possibilities for 5 different knobs to switch. So it would become very time consuming to try and count out all the different possibilities. So we are not going to do that. And you can also tell it would be very time consuming just by the fact the lowest number that we have is 56, and then the next one is 6,000, 25,000, and 40,000. So we're going to use one of the buttons on the calculator to help us with this. We can figure out permutations and combinations on the calculator by typing the 8 key. So you just type the 8 number, and you press math, and go over to probability, PRB. So math over 1, 2, 3 times, and then number 2 should be NPR. So you type that in, and your calculator should have put this next to the 8. And then you'd press the 5, and then enter. And that gives us 6,720, or B. Okay, so there are 6,720 possible lock combinations for an 8-digit one that has 5 options. So let's go on to the next question. This one doesn't tell us whether we're supposed to use NPR or NCR. It asks us first off to decide which off between the two. So it says how many different committees of 3 can be created from a group of 20 people. So I need to decide if this is a permutation or a combination. So if we have a committee of 3 people, so I need to decide, does it matter the order that I pick them in? So if I pick person Bill, Jane, and Timmy, does it matter if I picked them in this order, or if I picked Timmy first and then Bill and Jane? Or are they the same committee? Well, they still are the same committee. So therefore, this is like our combination pizza, because it doesn't matter what ingredients you put on first on the pizza, it is still the same pizza. A Hawaiian is a Hawaiian no matter whether you put the pineapple before the ham or vice versa. So, because I'm going to be using a combination, I'm going to use this button on the calculator. So you put the bigger number first, 20 people, and then we have 3 possible outcomes. So they're being chosen for 3. So we do type in 20, go math, over to probability, down to NCR, 3, enter. So that gives us 1140, which is the answer. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Last thing to cover in this lesson. Exclamation point in English means that you press, or that you put an emphasis on that sentence. So when you initially see this, 5 exclamation point, you may think it means 5, as in like excited about the number 5, but it actually doesn't. This is called factorial, and what it means is that we take 5, we multiply it by each of the integers below it, all the way down to 1. So 5 factorial is equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 times 3 is 60. 60 times 2 is 120. Sometimes to make your life easier, you can also use the factorial button on the calculator. So if you type the 5 button, and then go to the same place that the combinations and permutations were at. So math, press the over button 3 times, and then down to the exclamation point, and then press enter. And you'll get that this is equal to 120. So that's what factorial is. Sometimes they'll ask you questions like this. We have to take 25 factorial and divide it by 23 factorial. So we can use our calculator to figure it out, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So I did 25, just type in 25 factorial, divide by 23 factorial, press enter, and that gives us 600. So let's tell you what the password is right now. So the password, or not password, the secret word that you need to write down is exclamation point. So you got that the password, or not password, but the secret word is exclamation. Did I say exclamation point or mark? I don't know. As long as you write exclamation mark or point or something, you're good. Okay, so 25 factorial divided by 23 factorial is equal to 600 in the calculator. This actually makes a lot more sense than you think it would, because if I actually did this out, 25 times 24 times 23 times 23 times 22 times 21 times 20 times 19, etc., etc., etc. And then if I did on the bottom, I wrote 23 times 22 times 21 times 20 times 19, etc., 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 all the way down to 1, we see a nice little property that happens, because the 23s will cancel out, the 22s will cancel out, the 21s, the 20s, the 19s, all of the numbers cancel out. So what am I left with? 25 times 24. And so that is equal to 600. So it works out. So there you go. That is factorial and also the end of the probability lesson. Thanks for watching.